Ladies and gentlemen, we gather today to discuss a deeply personal, often painful, and profoundly impactful issue that affects millions of individuals and families around the world. The topic of divorce and remarriage. The question is simple, yet it resonates with complexity, discomfort, and confusion for many. Is divorce and remarriage a sin? Divorce and remarriage are deeply personal decisions that should be approached with compassion, not judgment. These are decisions that affect not only the individuals involved, but also their families, friends, and even communities. The emotional and psychological consequences of such decisions can be profound, and it is essential to recognize that each situation is unique. The choice to end a marriage or to enter into a new one is often fraught with complex emotions, personal growth, and sometimes deep pain. It is a decision that cannot be easily reduced to a matter of right or wrong, moral good or bad. This is why it is crucial to approach these situations with compassion, understanding that each person's journey is different, and each relationship has its own set of dynamics and struggles. For many people, divorce is not a choice that comes easily. It is not something that is done impulsively or without deep reflection. In fact, most individuals who decide to divorce have likely spent a considerable amount of time trying to salvage the relationship, seeking counseling and attempting to reconcile differences. It is only when these efforts fail and the relationship becomes emotionally or physically harmful that the choice to end it may feel like the only viable option. In such cases, divorce is not an act of irresponsibility or selfishness, but a necessary step to preserve the well-being of the individuals involved. When considering divorce and remarriage, one of the most important aspects to keep in mind is that people are not static. We change, we grow, and sometimes, despite the best intentions, we realize that we are no longer compatible with our partner. This is a reality that can be incredibly painful to accept, especially when societal expectations about marriage and commitment to play. Society often portrays marriage as a lifelong commitment, and divorce is viewed as a failure, both personally and morally. However, this view overlooks the complexities of human relationships and the fact that not all marriages are healthy or sustainable. A key factor in understanding the emotional toll of divorce is acknowledging that it is often not simply the end of a romantic relationship, but the dismantling of a shared life. Couples may have built their lives together, created shared memories, and intertwined their personal goals and aspirations. The dissolution of this partnership is not merely the end of a relationship, but the unwinding of everything that had been built. This process can be traumatic, even when both parties agree that divorce is necessary. The emotional distress of separating from someone you once envisioned your future with can be overwhelming, and it is essential to approach this experience with empathy and understanding. In addition, divorce is rarely a simple matter of two people deciding they no longer wish to be together. There are often layers of pain, disappointment, and loss involved. When children are part of the equation, the emotional and psychological weight of the situation increases. The dynamics of co-parenting and ensuring the well-being of children during and after a divorce require immense strength and patience. The decision to divorce may also carry the burden of guilt, particularly when there are feelings of having failed or when the divorce is seen as a disruption to family structure. It is in these moments of vulnerability that compassion becomes essential. The role of compassion extends beyond just the individuals involved in the divorce. Those around them, including family members, friends, and even colleagues, also need to approach the situation with empathy. There may be tendencies to take sides, judge the decision, or make assumptions about the reasons behind the divorce. This kind of judgment can only add to the pain and difficulty of the process. Instead, those in the support network should offer a listening ear, encouragement, and a non-judgmental space for the individuals involved to process their feelings and experiences. When people feel supported and understood, they are better equipped to move through the pain of divorce in a healthy way, whether they choose to remain single or eventually remarry. For many, remarriage is seen as a new chapter in life, an opportunity for growth, healing, and a second chance at love. However, the decision to remarry can be just as complicated as the decision to divorce. There may be fears, doubts, and insecurities about entering into another relationship, especially if the previous marriage ended in heartbreak or disappointment. Remarriage does not erase the emotional scars left from a past relationship, but it can offer the possibility of a fresh start with someone new. This is why compassion is essential when considering remarriage. It is crucial to recognize that individuals remarry for a variety of reasons. Some may seek companionship, some may be motivated by a desire to create a family, and others may simply want to experience love again. Regardless of the reasons, it is important not to judge their decision. Remarriage should be viewed as an opportunity for personal growth and healing, not as a sign of weakness or failure. The notion that remarriage in and of itself is somehow morally wrong or sinful is often rooted in our rigid view of marriage and commitment. It fails to account for the evolving nature of relationships and the idea that people change over time. Remarriage should not be seen as a failure to honor the commitment of a previous marriage, but as a step toward healing and building a future based on new experiences and lessons learned. Just as people can grow and change in a positive direction, so too can relationships. The goal of remarriage is not to recreate the past, but to build a new life together, one that is based on mutual respect, understanding, and a shared vision for the future. In approaching both divorce and remarriage with compassion, we must also be mindful of the fact that not every marriage is salvageable. In cases where abuse, infidelity, or other serious issues are present, staying in a marriage may not be an act of love but of self-destruction. In such cases, ending the marriage is often an act of courage, one that requires individuals to prioritize their own emotional and physical well-being. The same principle applies to remarriage. For those who have experienced a traumatic or unhealthy previous marriage, remarriage can represent a chance to break free from the past and start anew. However, it is crucial to approach this new relationship with awareness, maturity, and a deep understanding of one's own needs and boundaries. At its core, the decision to divorce and remarry should not be judged from a place of condemnation, but from a place of understanding. Compassion allows us to recognize that people make decisions based on their own circumstances, emotions, and growth. These decisions may not always align with societal expectations, but they are valid nonetheless. We must resist the temptation to judge others based on simplistic moral frameworks and instead offer support, understanding, and care. By doing so, we create a space where people can make decisions about their relationships that are in their best interest, free from the weight of judgment and shame. The complexity of human relationships means that divorce and remarriage cannot be viewed as simple moral failures, but rather as potential acts of self-care and growth. To truly understand this, we must first acknowledge the intricate nature of human connection, the evolving dynamics between individuals, and the different factors that contribute to the decision-making process. Relationships are far from static. They are living entities that grow, change, and sometimes deteriorate over time. Viewing divorce and remarriage through a lens of moral absolutism or failure does a disservice to the multifaceted nature of these decisions, and it oversimplifies the reality of human relationships. Human beings are not defined by their relationships, nor should their worth be determined by the success or failure of a particular union. People grow, learn, and evolve throughout their lives, and this growth often involves revisiting past choices, gaining insights, and understanding that certain paths may no longer serve them. When two people enter a marriage, they do so with the best intentions, hoping for a lifetime of companionship, support, and mutual respect. However, circumstances change, people change, and relationships sometimes become toxic, unbalanced, or unsustainable. It is in these situations that divorce becomes a potential path to self-preservation. Far from a failure, divorce can represent a courageous decision to prioritize one's emotional, mental, and physical well-being over a relationship that has become detrimental. It is important to recognize that not all marriages are healthy or nurturing. While some couples experience growth, love, and fulfillment throughout their partnership, Others may find themselves caught in cycles of hurt, resentment, and pain. The fact that divorce may occur is not indicative of moral failure or weakness. Instead, it can signal that the individuals involved have reached a point where they recognize that staying in the marriage would cause more harm than good. Divorce in these cases is not an escape from responsibility, but a responsible acknowledgement that both partners deserve a chance to heal, grow, and find peace apart. The decision to end a marriage is often incredibly difficult, and it is not made lightly. It involves deep introspection, often pain, and sometimes a sense of loss and grief. However, it also can signify strength to choose a path of healing and self-awareness rather than remaining in a relationship that no longer supports one's emotional or physical health. Similarly, remarriage should not be automatically seen as a sign of weakness, failure, or an attempt to replace the past. Instead, remarriage can be an opportunity for growth and for forging a new connection based on the lessons learned from previous experiences. It is essential to remember that each relationship is unique, and each person brings their own personal history, wisdom, and emotional baggage into their next partnership. Remarriage, in this sense, should not be viewed as an attempt to erase or forget the past, but as an opportunity to build something new, one that incorporates the lessons learned from prior relationships. For many individuals, remarriage represents a fresh start, a chance to begin anew with a different understanding of themselves and what they want from a partner. The experiences of divorce often provide valuable insight into the needs, desires, and boundaries of a person. In some cases, individuals enter remarriage with a greater sense of self-awareness, emotional maturity, and a clearer understanding of what makes for a healthy, balanced relationship. This understanding allows them to approach their new union with intention, mindfulness, and a readiness to cultivate a more fulfilling partnership. Rather than a mere attempt to replace something lost, remarriage can be a deliberate and thoughtful choice to begin anew, built on a foundation of personal growth, resilience, and hope for the future. It's essential to understand that both divorce and remarriage occur within specific social and cultural contexts, and these contexts influence the way these decisions are viewed. In many cultures and religions, divorce is stigmatized, and remarriage is often seen as an indication that the first relationship was a failure. This perspective fails to consider the real, tangible challenges that people face in relationships, challenges that can stem from many different sources, such as incompatibility, abuse, addiction, or infidelity. Not every failed relationship is the result of neglect, carelessness, or selfishness. Rather, some marriages dissolve because the individuals involved are no longer able to grow together in a way that is healthy for both of them. In such cases, divorce is an act of self-preservation, not a moral transgression. In addition, the concept of remarriage as growth becomes even clearer when we consider how individuals often transform in the aftermath of divorce. For many, the process of ending a marriage is not only a means of stepping away from a toxic relationship, but also an opportunity to rediscover oneself, heal, and rebuild. People who have gone through divorce often emerge stronger, more self-aware, and better equipped to create new, healthier relationships in the future. The idea that someone who remarries is somehow moving on too quickly or trying to replace the first spouse overlooks the significant personal growth that often accompanies the end of a marriage. Remarriage is not about erasing memories or pretending the past didn't happen. Rather, it's about embracing the future with an open heart, a clearer sense of self, and the wisdom gained from the lessons of the past. Furthermore, the idea that divorce and remarriage represent failure ignores the complex nature of commitment itself. Commitment is not a static quality. It evolves as individuals grow and change. The initial commitment made at the beginning of a marriage may have been based on a shared vision, but over time that vision can change. People's values, desires, and needs evolve. What was once a strong, loving partnership can sometimes devolve into an unfulfilled or even harmful relationship. In such cases, staying in the marriage for the sake of the original commitment may no longer be in the best interest of either party. Rather than viewing this as a failure of commitment, It can be understood as a recognition that the commitment to self-care, growth, and well-being is more important than remaining in a relationship that no longer aligns with these values. The journey from divorce to remarriage is often a process of learning, growth, and reinvention. It is not about erasing the past, but about acknowledging it, learning from it, and using those lessons to build a better future. Remarriage can offer the opportunity for a fresh perspective, deeper understanding, and more fulfilling connection. It is a chance to approach love and partnership with a newfound maturity, openness, and emotional intelligence. It should be seen as an act of hope, resilience, and the willingness to move forward with a heart full of possibility. In the end, the decision to divorce and remarry is a deeply personal one, and it is far from a simple reflection of success or failure. Instead, it is part of the broader, more complex narrative of individual growth and self-realization. Divorce and remarriage are not merely transactions or moral judgments. They are expressions of human evolution, of individuals choosing paths that align with their values, needs, and desires. When we view these decisions with a lens of compassion and understanding, we open the door to greater empathy, support, and respect for the journeys that others are undertaking. In conclusion, the discussion around divorce and remarriage is far more nuanced than a simple question of right or wrong. These are deeply personal experiences shaped by individual circumstances, emotional journeys, and a variety of other factors. Rather than approaching them with judgment or a rigid set of moral rules, we must recognize the complex nature of human relationships and the different paths people take toward healing, growth, and self-discovery. Divorce, often perceived through the lens of failure, is in many cases an act of courage. It signifies the recognition that staying in a relationship, even a long-term one, may no longer be in the best interest of either individual. It is a decision rooted in self-care, self-respect, and the desire to pursue a healthier and more fulfilling life. The emotional and psychological toll of staying in an unhealthy or toxic relationship can be overwhelming, and ending that relationship, though painful, is sometimes the bravest choice a person can make. Remarriage, on the other hand, is often viewed with skepticism or concern, as if it is an attempt to replace what was lost. However, for many, it is a new chapter, one that arises from personal growth, reflection, and a deeper understanding of themselves. Remarriage is not about erasing the past or forgetting the lessons learned from prior relationships, but about embracing a new beginning with a fresh perspective grounded in the wisdom that comes from experience. People who remarry often do so with greater emotional intelligence, a clearer sense of what they want and need, and a renewed commitment to creating a loving, supportive partnership. The most crucial point in this discussion is the need for compassion. Compassion for those going through divorce and for those embarking on remarriage. These decisions are rarely made lightly, and they are often the result of deep personal struggle. Instead of condemning or judging others for their choices, we should support them in their journey. We should offer empathy, encouragement, and understanding, recognizing that everyone's path is different and that healing and growth look different for each person. Ultimately, the decisions to divorce and remarry are not signs of moral failure. They are reflections of humanity, the complexity of love, the need for self-preservation, and the pursuit of happiness and peace. As we move forward, let us be mindful of the emotional weight these decisions carry and offer the compassion and support that every person deserves as they navigate their personal journeys toward healing and new beginning. We must continue to approach these matters with the kindness and understanding that every human heart needs, acknowledging that everyone's story is unique and deserving of respect.